The absolute worst feeling as a man is to feel helpless. But we're not actually helpless. We've been tricked. Education has been designed to set us up to own a home, to build retirement, to have a family, to move our way into the middle class and maybe even into the upper class, right? That's not actually true. Have you ever heard of the Kingdom of Prussia? Not Russia, Prussia. This was a kingdom that lasted from the mid-teens, 15 or 1600s, into the early 1900s, and was basically the predecessor to what became Germany. In the early to coming into the mid-1800s, Prussia was working their way into the industrializing world, and they had developed a system. Now, the founder, or who's considered the father of the modern American education system, took a trip back to Prussia in 1843, well before computers, well before anything we know. The structure of this education system that worked really well for the industrializing nation, as well as military applications, was to have subjects throughout different periods in the day, to have standardized testing, and to create each student to the same standards, regardless of what their aptitudes, their creativity, etc. was. They were putting all square pegs through the same round hole, fitting everyone into the same box. And this worked really well to create factory workers and to create military personnel. Now let's rewind even further into Greek and Roman times. Now, the Romans, they had a system that was very militaristic, very follow directions, there's a hierarchy, and you work as a piece of the military, right? Now, the Greeks, they had this system called the trivium, where they basically taught 3 core competencies that allowed people to solve problems, to create solutions, to become really independently capable. So you've got one side where everybody follows directions and has no capabilities. They train their capabilities out of them. Then you have the other side where they try to make them as completely competent and capable as possible. So this education system that was in Prussia 200 years ago was based on this Roman militaristic ideology. Get everybody to act the same, hold them to the exact same standards, and completely disregard what they think, what they're capable of, what their creativity is. Throw that all out the window. What we need is we need robots. We need machines. We need direction followers. We need order takers. We do not want creativity. We do not want problem solvers. We do not want people who are capable of making things far better for themselves than the system could make for them. So in 1843, the father of our education system here in America, in the Western world, a guy named Horace Mann, goes over to Prussia almost 200 years ago, and he observes their education system and says, hey, this is going to be great for America. This is going to help us with our industrializing. This is going to help us with our military. So we're going to take this model that these guys were using from a kingdom from 200 plus years ago when they were using this. Okay, so maybe he was over there 180 years or something, we'll do the math. But this old system that was literally meant to train people out of being capable to handle their own business, to create their own solutions, to solve their own problems, to develop their own true freedom and sovereignty. That is what our modern education system has been based on for nearly 200 years. And the crazy thing is, this is so deeply ingrained into us because this is what our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, this is what everybody knew for generations before we were even, the oldest people alive were even born. And it's taught us that we need to be reliant, we need to be compliant, we need to follow directions. Somebody else is going to feed us. We can't do it for ourselves. That is one of the reasons this system that we've been just slammed through, that doesn't fit most of us, it hasn't fundamentally changed. And it makes men who have something deeply in them. They desire to build, they desire to protect, they desire to provide, they desire to do something amazing. And there's this deep biological calling to do so, but we are so subconsciously conditioned into believing that we have to rely on someone else, and then we get in a situation where we have to survive, we have to pay bills, we have mortgages, we have car payments. We can't get ourselves free so that we can actually make the time to create our freedom, to create the solution that each of us need that fits our own lives. And as a result, a lot of men, they just can't figure out what to do, how to do it, how to get free, how to protect, how to provide, how to build. And then we go and we start drinking. We stuff a bunch of unhealthy food in our face. We go and we play video games, watch Netflix. We do whatever we can to escape this life that it's not meant for us. It's not. There's a biological algorithm within us that says we need to be out protecting, providing, conquering, building, doing something, instead of just relying on others to buy our lives from us, one paycheck or one invoice at a time, while telling us what to do and determining how much we're worth. No wonder we have such an epidemic of drunk, defeated men. I was the absolute epitome of that. I was the drunk, divorced, defeated man. That's what it is. You know, I've made it past a lot of those challenges, and some of these things I'm striving towards, I'm in the middle of. So, you know, the things that I've done, I want to share and tell you about and help you get to that element, to that point in your life. And the things that I'm working towards, I'm going to be honest about that too, because, you know, I haven't made my first $1 million, don't have my first 1 million followers. This channel's got 40 right now. I have another one with 8,000, another one with 3,000. It was just all a learning experience. But you know what? I've got clarity, I've got conviction, I've got mission, I've got purpose, I've got drive. I'm just never going to stop. I'm never going to stop creating and talking to you. I'm never going to drink again. I'm always going to eat right. I'm always going to work out, always going to keep creating. Just keep down that same path, and we're all going to keep coming up together. You know, I want to help you go from the challenging point you're at to get here, and by the time you're somewhere near where I'm at, you'll be able to see what I did to get to the next steps. So I have gotten myself sober. I'm just shy of 2 years since my last drink. I got myself in great shape compared to the skinny fat, pear-shaped, overweight, weak, loser version of myself 4 years ago. Created self-belief, something that I didn't even understand how it truly felt, because you can't just change your mind. You have to actually change how you act so that you subconsciously train your mind into believing yourself. So that's what I want to lead into here is, so now we understand what we know is a scam, it's a lie, it's a con, but what do you actually do? Because you still got to pay your bills, right? You still got a life to live. We still got to survive. And this is where it gets more foundational, and this is so valuable, and I hope you really truly hear this. Once you have self-belief, you'll be able to start moving in whatever direction you know is right for you. And it takes a while to find that. I'm not saying you have the answer, but you can start moving forward today to build the self-belief, to build the confidence, to move towards whatever the best version of life is for you. And how do you do that? It's by keeping promises to yourself every single day, by doing hard, uncomfortable things you say you're going to do and you never miss. You do what you say you're going to do every single time, every single day. You know, but it comes in small steps. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. It just doesn't work that way. It starts with basic habits. The core foundation to all of this, the thing that trained my mind into understanding I could do everything else, the thing that gave me the capability to stop drinking, was physical fitness. And you choose your flavor of physical fitness. You want to do jiu-jitsu, you want to do yoga, you want to do strength training, you know, what type of strength training you want to do. I don't care what it is. What you need to do is you need to commit to it. You need to commit to it consistently, bare minimum an hour a day, 4 days a week. And while you're doing it, you have to go intense. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to push yourself as far as you can without harming yourself. Try, you know, understand your limits. Don't go and start trying to lift a whole bunch of heavy weight real early on. Don't go to jiu-jitsu class when you don't know what you're doing, and start sparring with your buddies that are trained, and get yourself hurt. Be wise, because this is about longevity. This is a lifelong mindset and active change. We're changing the way we're going to act for the rest of our lives. So once you get yourself into physical fitness and have created consistent good habits, then you can stack the next habit. Start learning more about nutrition. Start working away from the vices. You probably have some form of debilitating vice. And for a huge amount of men in America, around the world, alcohol is that vice. That was my Achilles heel. And I will never drink again. And I'm so proud that has become my identity. That is who I am. There is not one moment ever where I don't wear that with pride. So I'm closing on 4 years into this, and it wasn't until about 3 years of doing hard, consistent things, stepping up the next level of good habits, doing the next uncomfortable, challenging thing, and seeing it through, that I really started to see, wow, I really have elevated. I really am capable. I really can't be stopped. And I know that what I'm doing could take, it could take 10 weeks, 10 months, or 10 years. I don't care. I won't stop. I'm going to keep moving in the same direction, following the same habits. I will not stop. It will work out. And if you can do that for anything, whatever your pursuit is, for long enough, stay true to yourself, understand what's actually happening, and still be wise. If let's say you're pursuing something that with all this rapid change in the world becomes invalidated, well, then understand that. Don't keep working uphill towards a cliff. But whatever direction you're going, as long as you're moving forward, even if you have to course correct, I so wholeheartedly believe that you're going to get there. And that's why, like I said, I can tell you about getting sober. I can tell you about getting fit. I can tell you about creating self-belief. I can show you the consistent habits of creating content. And I've also started a marketing company while I was living out of the back of an SUV on a beach in California, 1,300 miles from home. I'm making good money. I operate with complete autonomy. I market custom motorcycles for the world's largest custom motorcycle manufacturer, aircraft parts coating. We manufacture things that go bang that they don't like me talking about on YouTube. You aim them, they make things stop moving. And we also do off-road motorsports, off-road power sports. So is my goal and desire to sell my time in the form of invoices? No, but it's a step that's getting me where I want to go, and it's fitting into the life that I want to live, and it's giving me the freedom that I desire. And it came from self-belief and the client that I've had nearly a decade-long business relationship with, actually wanting and being willing to and being driven to commit to giving me basically everything I asked for within my terms to do something for them. This wasn't the previous business relationship, but I'd shown through actions the character that I'd created and what he is capable of doing for them. So for me, yes, the next step is, continue developing some elements of this business, and hopefully over time move away from some other ones that take more of my time. And eventually, this thing between you and I here, these discussions we have, the adventures I'm going to bring you on, I'm going to show you that whole year of my life living out of my SUV on mountaintops and beaches in California, the real challenges I went through, getting myself sober. It was hard, it was uncomfortable. There were nights that it actually froze. And I didn't have any climate control. I was shivering in the back of an SUV on a mountaintop. It wasn't easy. But at the end of that, I came back sober, came back a lot tougher and more resilient, and understanding a part of myself that education wanted to train me out of. They wanted to tell me, they want to tell you, someone else is going to provide all the answers and all you need to do is follow directions. And instead, I was in a situation where I had to survive. I had to find my answers. I had to create solutions. And when you start to realize we don't need someone else to figure everything else out for us and then just give us directions, we need to get ourselves uncomfortable. We learn the things that we learn fastest from are failure, and that the most uncomfortable, I think I've heard 20 hours, the first 20 hours learning something new. It's the least productive, but you learn the most percentage-wise. You spend 20 hours screwing things up, not understanding, and then things start to come together a little bit better. That first 100 hours, maybe you get to 80% competency in that first 100 hours. Most people will never even make it through the first 20 hours of something new, uncomfortable, and different that doesn't come with a teacher, a classroom, somebody there to solve the problems, to follow directions, to answer the questions for them. But we live in a different time, and I'm sure the young people know this now. There is an answer for everything that's easily accessible. So, maybe it's not always right, but in the last year, I've learned drop shipping. I've learned, and we're about to launch a business, hopefully within the next week. It's going to have over 500,000 different parts that at the click of a button, I can put on Amazon and eBay. We've been building this for years. It's been a challenging, uncomfortable situation. This is not my core skill set or aptitude, but I'm going to be running and managing it and getting paid. Design. I'm terrible at design. I understand, elements of framing, of different. I understand elements of design, but I'm just not good at it. But I'm now designing clothing for the world's largest custom motorcycle manufacturer using AI. And you can't just have AI spit out a good design on its own. You still have to have a bunch of the foundational understanding of not only the design, but the market you're designing for too. And I get design, I'm just not good at it. I can look at a design and tell you what's wrong and why, and the spacing and the margins and the font. I can tell you, I'm just not good at making it on my own. And I made some really ugly AI designs for a while, but now I'm making some really good ones. And the answers, they're there. If I can't figure it out, I'm gonna have a little talk with, the AI I use is called magi.co. It has 50 different AIs that you can toggle between. So, and it has an auto mode too, where it will figure out which AI is best for this answer or that answer. So I don't have to go and spend hours looking around on forums and watching videos and tutorials. I can find the resources and answers quick. Then I get my hands dirty, and is this accurate? Is this valid? Sometimes it's not. And I learn. And then pretty soon I become competent to where I don't need to be given directions. I'm able to do it on my own. And that's the amazing thing in this moment right now, where there's so much change happening, so many opportunities and possibilities that we understood are going away. But for those who are willing to get uncomfortable, to learn, to try, to fail, to course correct, and to learn the trivium, to become competent and capable, to solve your own problems, to build your own solutions, those people are going to do amazing in this moment in time, whereas a lot of other people are going to be in really big trouble. And those people that are in trouble, they're going to seek an escape. That escape's going to come through a vice like alcohol. But the people who are creating solutions are also likely going to be the people who are, instead of watching Netflix, are in the gym. Instead of eating pizza, are eating, grilled or boiled chicken. I do. Man, I pretty much live off of crock-pot chicken, Greek yogurt, avocados, and vegetables. My meals are totally regimented. I don't put anything unhealthy in this body. And, the people who recognize the most valuable thing we can do for ourselves is to continually build ourselves. And the most valuable thing we can do for all the people, the world, whoever we're going to have our impact on, is to continue building ourselves. The greatest gift we have is our health and our bodies. And we just disregard them and treat them like total crap. Society has trained men into learned helplessness for generations upon generations, and it doesn't actually have to be that way. Once you see the problem, once you understand the problem, you can recognize there's a solution. The solution is getting yourself fit, getting yourself sober, creating self-belief, taking as long as it takes. It took me a couple years. Taking as long as it takes to find your mission and your purpose, then pursuing that relentlessly. Getting uncomfortable, embracing discomfort, moving into it, never backstepping. Who knows? Maybe I'm full of it. Check back on the channel in a couple years, but the progress and momentum I've made over the last 4 gives me a pretty good indicator that I'm going to keep moving in the right direction. And I really hope that you can come along on this journey, that I give you some insight to help you create your view and understanding of how you can move forward in this life and build and create the life that you actually want to live, to design the way you want your life to be, versus relying on someone else to buy your life from you, one paycheck at a time, tell you what to do, how to dress, who to be, where to be, and give you limiting beliefs. It's the whole education system. They limit our beliefs. They tell us we're only worth as much as we can sell our time to somebody for. And then we have to go out, hand out a piece of paper, beg for them, oh, can I please sell you my life? I want you to buy my life for pennies on the dollar, for peanuts. Please, buy my life and tell me what to do and tell me who to be and tell me how to do it. No wonder men are in the situation that we are at this point in time, but we don't have to be. I'm not going to be that way. I'll find out in the next couple hours. If I've got my piece of land, it's got water, only $10,000 in a beautiful place surrounded by national forests and national parks, and I'm going to do everything I can to pay cash to build a small, it's not even going to be a small home. I think I'm going to build a steel barn-dominium, and then I'm going to park a camper inside of it, and then I'm going to work, and I'm going to save up, and I'm going to buy the materials I need to get my hands dirty and learn how to start finishing that thing out. And it's going to be a long process, longer than I imagined. It's going to cost more than I imagined. And I'm going to have a lot of things that I put work in and I screw them up and I have to redo it and I learn lessons. But I'm going to rely on me. I'm going to own this without debt. Nobody's going to tell me what to do or how to do it. Love you guys. Pursue your purpose. Find your mission. Understand that you are not helpless. You can do what you need to do. You have to understand it, and you can move towards the life that you can create and you desire.